Welcome to the whole story. We are here today to review the Spanish Grand Prix weekend that I thought was exciting more than the past couple weekends have been. For some, it was Spain without the S. It was pain. For others, it rained for only one driver and no one else. And for others, it was a cakewalk in front of the field like it normally is. So we are here today. Myself, my man Alex, we are here to discuss this. I got a new stream room the past week, and stream room is putting it nicely. It's just a room with a table and my laptop right now. So we're working through some audio, of course, because what would our show be without technical difficulties? Hopefully the echo isn't too bad. And then we were able to get Alex onto the stream today with volume without having to do crazy stuff that you guys don't see. So this could potentially be a good day. So if you're at home, maybe let us know about the race. Maybe just let us know about our audio. That's how it might be today. Alex, what's going on, baby? How we doing?
Just not looking forward to the next a week or so without F1, and then we got a little 2 week break in between after
Yeah.
Canada.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is gonna be a boring Sunday.
It's we get like spoiled. We get
I
practice.
know we had we were supposed to have 3 races back to back, but we got
Yeah,
two, and then we got
but
yeah.
yeah, we get practice Friday, a quali Saturday, a race Sunday, and then a weekend without Formula One just feels so empty.
It does. Yeah,
Uh,
I was trying to explain to one of our friends. They're like, "When does the F1 season end?" I'm like, "It's kind of like half the year. They get like little breaks in between, but it's not really. Cause it's not like normal sports where like like during winter it closes and stuff. It's
yeah.
happening year round pretty much.
Well, especially when you have a sport that races globally, they can kind of pick and choose
Mm-hmm.
tracks that go places where it'd be like cold here in the United States, but it'd still be warm somewhere else. So they can extend the
Correct.
season. We got to myself and Alex got to do a little partying this weekend at one of our high school friends' weddings. It was a good time. Alex should have seen him on the dance floor. He's got some moves, let me tell you.
You killed it yourself, John. I saw you slow dancing out there.
Yeah, except I was slow dancing with our friend Greg and not my wife Brooke. So
I wasn't gonna bring that up, but
listen, he grabbed me out
we
onto
got
the dance floor for Tennessee whiskey. What was I supposed to
that.
do? You know what I
I
mean?
know the shot started talking to you. I hear you.
Oh boy, here we go. All right. Well, I caught a little bit of practice. It was um, I guess I want to say not too exciting practice. I think a few crashes. There was a rain came out in was it FP2, FP3, that kind of kept a lot of people in the garage or some people just out there dilly dallying. I don't know if you remember.
I did not watch practice this weekend. I had a pretty busy weekend, so
Yeah.
I watched
Well,
qualifying, but
yeah. Well, you didn't miss too much in practice. In Mercedes, their upgrades, I don't think. I mean, we'll discuss them obviously in the race, but I don't think their upgrades were jumping out at anyone during final practice. They of course weren't showing their cards right away, so it was pretty quiet practice. That no big
yeah,
wrecks, no Monaco situation where we're craning cars up in the air and taking pictures
getting
of
all
the underside.
the.
Yeah, so well, let's get right
You know
into
what's
it then.
crazy? Well,
Oh, go ahead.
before we jump into the race, did they crane Checo's car out last year?
No, because this car was drivable, wasn't it?
I don't remember. That's what I'm trying to. I was trying to figure that out because I'm like that floor. I don't. I obviously they did updates to the floor this year too, but like I'm surprised like nobody. They must have not been if because it wasn't brought up at all
Yeah,
when
I feel like his car was drivable last year. Yeah, that crane
that's right.
situation's weird. If you really pay attention, they have cranes everywhere around that track.
Oh yeah, Monaco. You kind of have to. There's like no easy way of getting out.
Yeah. So I think so Alex, we have good audio today, but you are frozen on my screen now. Your
Um,
video's frozen. Your sound's good. Oh,
do you want me to
oh, you're
try
back.
leaving and coming back? I'm
You're
good.
back.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. All right, cool. Fixed itself. Love it. Um, yeah. So let's get into qualifying. It, it was a good qualifying, right? Would you agree?
Yeah, it was exciting. Charles going out P19, right? That's what he qualified.
Yeah. P19. He only
Yeah,
beat Logan Sargent. That's nuts.
that was
I think I
I
think you
mean,
could.
I guess it was damage to the car, right? He said it was
Yeah.
there's something wrong with the car.
I
Yeah.
mean, listen, that Ferrari isn't a first place car, but it's not a P19 car either,
No,
especially with
it's
Charles
that.
driving it.
I mean, yeah, Carlos finished what P2. Yeah, so like Charles could have been P3 for P2 instead of
Yeah,
Carlos easily.
I, I think it was evident that something was broken right away. They Charles Leclerc, as Alex said, qualified 19th, so they broke Parc Ferme rules, meaning once a car goes out for qualifying, there's only limited adjustments you can make. Obviously, they felt like Leclerc's car was so bad that they needed to go beyond those regulated adjustments and to check things and change things. So he actually started from the pit lane. Him and I
Mm-hmm.
believe Logan Sargent did
Yeah,
on Sunday. But Q1 also it showed George Russell struggling. Sergio Perez almost didn't get out of Q1. He,
yeah,
in my opinion, he put in his lap, and I believe he was like 14th, and wherever he was like P11. People were putting in laps, and they were bumping him down, bumping him down. Then there was one more person, Bottas, to come around after Perez, and I thought he was going to push Perez down to 16th, but
mm-hmm.
Bottas put himself 16th. Sergio goes 15th and sneaks into the next qualifying session. But I think he went off into the gravel in his on one of
Yeah.
his laps, which put him on the back foot. But it's not like he squeaked into Q2 by that and then like jumped to the top of the leaderboards. He was on the
No, he
back
was
foot all
struggling,
qualifying.
which is like I think it's also partially to do with like I don't it's it seems like the track lately has been like people are getting faster and faster and faster, and because these qualifying times are so close, like obviously like Max and Checo should be pulling ahead of everybody. They're like I don't know half a second faster or like 5/10, whatever it is that they're faster than everybody else. But it seems like you kind of want to time your laps like really really perfectly now because these cars that shouldn't be getting knocked out in Q1 or getting knocked out in Q1, and it's just uh, I think that's what happened with Checo too. Like you said, that first lap he went to the gravel and he couldn't recover from there,
Yeah,
and then he
it
put it on too late.
it makes qualifying interesting, but I think what they're worried about is Charles Leclerc ruining their qualifying session. So they're
I mean, he
thinking
wasn't
that,
there. Like, I mean, yeah, for that Q3, I guess for
but
Q1, yeah, but he
th-
wasn't. He had no excuse for Q2.
yeah, but I think these guys are trying to put those laps in a little bit early just
Yeah,
in case something happens. So your first five to get eliminated are Bottas in 16th, K Mag in 17th, rough for the Haas, Albon 18th, Leclerc, which was the big shocker, in 19th, and then 20th is Logan Sargent. So we moved to Q2, which had two big names get eliminated. George Russell qualified 12th, and then
Checo.
Sergio Perez in that
Perez.
11th place. And I mean, it's a shocker. It's a shocker for both of them because both of their teammates qualified, a decent amount better than them. So
Yeah. Well, especially in Q2 for well, obviously that Red Bull shouldn't be going on Q2 at all, but for Q2, I want to say Lewis is the second fastest on track for Q2.
um,
I think he finished second or third. Second or third. I think he might have got out qualified by Carlos towards the end. But
yeah, yes, fourth.
he was fourth in Q2.
Yeah, yeah. So Q2
Okay.
looks like Max with a 12.76, um, Lando with a 12.77, Carlos with a 12.79, and then you had Lewis with a 12.9. So he
Okay.
qualifies
So
fourth in that
look,
Q2.
that's insanely close though.
Oh yeah,
But
I mean that's what we've been waiting for.
oh yeah. And then Q3 comes around and Max just puts it on pole immediately and pretty much just chills. He bails out of his next run lap because that's how confident Red Bull was that no one was catching it.
Yeah, well, I mean, so he did. So for to finish up Q2, um, we had uh, we had Yuki Tsunoda get eliminated in 15th, getting out qualified by his teammate Nick DeVries in 14th. Joe Guan Yu, which in my opinion, had a good weekend. He qualifies better than his teammate in 13th. George with the shocker in 12th. Ooh, one thing we didn't talk about is the contact between Russell and Hamilton. A little miscommunication there. In
Oh
that
yeah. Forgot about
I
that.
was watching qualifying with my old man, and I watched Russell's pulled over right before the last corner to let someone by, and then I see Hamilton coming with speed to the last corner, and I see Russell hopping in front of him.
Pulls over,
and
yeah.
I said, I immediately said something to my dad. I said, like, something doesn't look right. I wonder if they were trying to give Hamilton a tow, but it didn't make sense because where George
It was
was.
Russell. Yeah, Russell
But
wanted a
Hamilton,
tow from.
well, Hamilton does get that toe, goes on the outside. George Russell, he admits it was his fault. They just didn't tell him. He actually makes contact, little bit of damage on Hamilton's car. He aborts the lap. George has to put in his best lap with that contact, and I think that's part of the reason he didn't make it out of Q2. So I mean,
yeah,
but it's crazy that little miscommunication between the.
Nah, let's be real here. George wants to be Nico Rosberg so bad.
he must be Nico so bad he was trying to wreck Lewis at Spain.
Spain.
I could see,
yeah.
Hey, Nico was there too. He's like, you know what?
I saw that he actually talked highly of Lewis, which was insane to me.
Yeah, I think they moved past it just a little bit.
I don't know. I think there's always going to be a little animosity between both of them.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I think they both live in Monaco too. I mean, Nico likes Toto still. I think everyone gets along at this point. But yeah, I think that's what hurt George in that qualifying session. And after, you saw his race pace, that could have been much different. And all you needed was a little bit more communication. One thing I said to my my old man when they went during qualifying. So I don't know if you ever noticed, but they don't talk to Toto ever during the qualifying or the race, because usually I think what they did was they would only talk to people on the pit wall. So Horner's on the wall, Otmar's on the wall, Gunther's on the wall, but like Toto, Bono, they're all in the garage.
In the garage, yeah.
Yeah. So then I don't know if they were like, someone has to talk to us, because I don't know if you saw, but they were talking to like some communications director, Bradley something, and that was new, at least.
No, I didn't know that. I knew. I was surprised Toto's been coming out on the radio lately, though.
Yeah, but not for interviews from ESPN. That's like I guess they have a sporting director, so they went right to the communications director right away and was like, what was with the contact, and then he was able to like say early that George didn't know. So I mean, it's just cool that they finally have someone interviewing Mercedes people, during qualifying, during the race. But Sergio qualifies 11th, and then rounding out. Well, that's 11th. That is your 5 cars to get eliminated from Q2. Then we go to Q3, which was, it was a wild card, right? I'm trying to go over this here because of there being a penalty to Pierre Gasly, which we'll talk about. The top 7 starting positions were 7 different manufacturers, which was like a stat that they just kept going over. But I think that's awesome. 7 different manufacturers in the top 7. I mean, it's pretty cool.
The regulations are working. They really are. Like, obviously, like the Pierre Gasly incidents, but
yeah,
these qualifying times are like insanely close.
Yeah, once you get over the gap, the Max Verstappen gap, they are insanely close.
Yeah, I have.
So Max Verstappen, he puts, as Alex said earlier, he puts a crazy lap in, a 12.2 early on. He actually timed it up, as Alex was saying, the track's getting faster. So I think he was the last car to take his flying lap for qualifying. And so everyone else is ahead of him. They actually start putting in their laps, and Red Bull can see that, last car puts in their lap and is not faster than Max or nowhere near it. So they abort his last lap, which might have been even faster. We'll never know. But he runs a 12.2.
It looked like it was.
Yeah, he had some good sectors. And in second place is a 12.7. So 5/10 essentially, and then it got close after that. Carlos Sainz second, which Ferrari always seems to pull some qualifying speed out of nowhere. But I think the big shocker, Lando Norris in third, dude. How crazy was that?
Dude, that McLaren looks so pretty, man. I want it to be fast. I want that livery just to continue, and I want that car to be fast. But yeah, even Piastri he got into P10, so he made it to Q3, which is nice to see. See what they could pull off in the next race. But yeah, that was a shocker. I was happy for him. It was good to see him back up there. But
yeah, I don't know. If
I really wanted. I think I watched qualifying.
Did you watch the post? Their post?
No, I didn't. I
Well,
didn't know.
he said something like, "Yeah, Carlos is his home race, so I gave him a few tenths in
Oh.
qualifying." Like that's why we need Lando up front because he's funny. He needs to be out there and doing those things.
Yeah, he's the new Danny Rick pretty much. Everyone likes him.
Yeah. Listen, that's actually great that you said that because he was teammates with Danny Rick. So I bet you he kind of looked like he was going to be a funny guy, but then he got the Danny Rick tutelage. That's good thoughts there, Alex. Yeah, that's really good thoughts. So a third, which he then talked about after the race, which we'll go over. Maybe just there was like 8 cars that could have qualified in that second to ninth
Yeah.
position. He just happened to put his lap together. He thought maybe the expectations were a little high, but you got to give him credit that he can wheel it when it's time, especially for the casual fans who watch Drive to Survive and think he's someone's son. So not bad. Okay, so yeah, then Pierre Gasly fourth, Lewis Hamilton fifth. He actually had a strong first lap that I thought was gonna have him up there in high position, but he wasn't
I
able
thought
to
so
put it
too.
together in his last flyer, which these guys were putting down some killer
I
time.
think
So
he
he
was.
was. Yo,
I
go ahead.
think what killed him was the strategy they came out with because I want to say Mercedes came out with in Q3 on brand new tires, and they
Yeah,
just told Lewis to push for it right away. And then for his second push lap, he was on obviously used tires. But
yeah,
I think had they just come out with like used tires and then switch to the new tires afterwards, he probably could have put in a better time.
yeah. I mean I agree. The you know if you don't know about Formula One, like new tires, and I think they said it during qualifying, new tires are like a 7/10 advantage. So it's a big deal. So you get that big advantage of a new tire at the end of qualifying when the track is getting faster, like Alex said. It's going to give you a lot of speed. So maybe a little missed strategy there by them. Lance Stroll finally decent, I guess, sixth. Esteban Ocon seventh. Nico Hulkenberg eighth, which is a pretty good qualifying run for him, seeing as his teammate qualified down in 17th. So it's a pretty big gap there. Fernando Alonso ninth, Oscar Piastri 10th, 2 McLarens in the top 10. That's a great day for them. Well, how about Fernando? Did you see all the hype on
He
social
struggled.
media this week?
He struggled, man. I think it was the Taylor Swift rumors.
Dude, they were doing like he was in pit stall 33 and the race was on like it was on like 6 plus something plus 23 so it equals 20 like 33 like
Yeah,
they kept like lining up all these threes. They were like it's been whatever how like they just kept lining up all these numbers like this was going to be his weekend and then this was probably
yeah.
his worst
The
weekend of
worst
the
weekend
season.
all year. Yeah.
I don't know. Do you any idea why he struggled for pace this weekend or
I really couldn't tell you. I want to say in qualifying though, did he wasn't he one of the guys who went off in the gravel in qualifying?
He was, and they were duct taping the underneath of his car. They thought he might have
Yeah.
had some damage, and they might have. I think they were definitely duct taping his car. I
Yeah.
don't
So
know if they were allowed to change anything before the race in Parc Ferme, but that could be it. That's a good point.
that's probably what might have been upset his qualifying pace. But even during race pace, I know he started to linger back during the race towards the end, but he was
Yeah,
struggling. He struggled this entire weekend. It was sad to
yeah.
see. I'm telling you, it's a Taylor Swift rumors. I think she has a new boyfriend and he's upset.
I mean, some say that she does have that curse. So, I mean, we don't believe in curses on this show like that, but you never know. We got to leave the door open for everything. Um, and then, as we've talked about a few times, Pierre Gasly, I believe he got a seventh
Sixth
place
place.
grid or
Sixth.
sixth.
It
Yeah,
was
it
because he
was.
did it twice and it was 2, 3 places.
Yeah, so he qualified fourth. Alex's math right there, two. Three plays grid penalties is six. So he starts 10th, which made his race a lot different. But again, a decent qualifying by Alpine. I mean, not
They
they
have the
really,
pace. They
yeah,
really do. They have they have qualifying pace. Let's see
yep,
what that race pace looks like in the future. But the qualifying pace is pretty good.
yeah, absolutely. So I mean, they're stepping up their program. Apparently, they made a lot of talk about it past couple weekends. Like their head guy was like, we need to see better results on track, and everyone was like, it's kind of weird that he came out and said it in public, but he might have lit the fire that's been needed underneath this team. So they did pretty good. Okay, you ready to start talking about this race?
Yeah.
Can I toot my own horn before we get started? Because that's how I am.
Yeah. Do you think?
I think I have been very accurate, and I don't think it's so gimmicky as we saw this weekend. But more than one stop race is more than one pit stop races are more
It's
exciting
more
races.
exciting. 100% agree with you.
And I've been preaching it. The medium to hard one stop race, everyone pits are on the same time. There's no undercut. It's just it's boring. Everyone's on the same strategy. Granted, I don't think this race was in the top, upper echelon of exciting races,
No.
but everyone, everyone pitted twice. Yes, everyone pitted twice. You kind of had some undercut, you had different strategies too, not just like everyone on a similar strategy. We're just going to undercut you by a lap or over. It
Yeah.
was like it was different strategies. It really played out kind of in that 8, 9,
Yeah.
10,
And then,
11
you
battles,
know,
which made it exciting.
let, let's not forget Ferrari decided to just throw caution to the fucking wind and throw another bad strategy out there.
Yeah,
I couldn't understand why the hell they started Charles at hards and only had him go 15 laps on him.
yeah. He went 17 laps. He went on his hards. It made no
That
sense.
is ridiculous. Like Max was on mediums and he went 20. Even Lewis, I think Lewis and George were
And
on softs and they both went 20 plus.
yeah, because and it's like, you know what? I swear it's like Ferrari. Like they like this is how they look at the weekend. Like no tunnel vision. Let's go back
Mm-hmm.
to Hungary last year when it's cold out. No one's hard tires are working. What do? They put
Put on
hards out.
hards.
You so yesterday Toto even said it. Like the
And they
weather
had the
was cool.
data.
Yeah,
They
but
had the data.
yesterday
Like, this
the
is not going to
weather's
work.
the weather's cool. It wasn't hot out. So the soft tires are going to last longer when it's cooler. But not to mention, if you're going to put on hard, you're not going to roll with that strategy. You're going to unless they
You got to stick to the stint. Like, dude, you like Charles at this point. Like, I know he came back out there. He started making up some places here and there and stuff. But like, Charles is starting towards the back of the grid. You're putting them on hards to have a longer stint to overtake people in the pit stop. That's the
Yep.
whole point of throwing on hards. You don't have him run 17 laps. That's ridiculous. It's a 66 lap race or whatever. He's got to go at least 30.
Yeah,
At least 30.
I don't know what their data was showing them that like maybe he was losing too much time, but like you're also gambling a little bit. You're hoping kind of for a yellow flag. You're hoping to run long, get a cheaper pit stop with the yellow flag. You're hoping for anything, like you say, just not lap 17. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Speaking of
Um,
yellow flag, I'm surprised there wasn't on this race.
yeah, I don't think they're. Well, I mean, a yellow flag would have made that race more exciting, but I saw
No,
some
I think the race
comments.
was fine.
Yeah, I saw some comments that the race was boring. I thought it was good.
See, this is my thing about Formula One is like, if you're just looking for the race lead, obviously, like Max ran away with it. Max had a 23-second gap, 22-second gap, whatever it was,
Yeah,
on Lewis and P2.
yeah,
But if you're looking at that, yeah, the race is boring. But there was a lot of overtaking in the midfield. And what sucks is when you get past the top 10 place too, like none of these guys are scoring points. I kind of wish they would let these guys score points and stuff. I know it's going to break records that shouldn't be broken and stuff, but when you're in P15, I think you should go up to P15 because that way, like when you're fighting in P15, you have a reason to fight for it. Like there was a lot of overtaking that was happening from like who was it? Was it Nico? Yeah, Nico Hulkenberg had like a double overtake to get into like almost points position and stuff like that. Charles had a double overtake. It's like there was a lot of overtaking that happened this year that hasn't happened in the past in Spain, and I thought it was pretty exciting to watch. Now, if you're watching the front of the grid, yeah, Max fucking ran away with it. But if you're
yeah,
just that's the thing that's exciting about F1 though. You can find a lot of entertainment value from watching different areas of the race.
yeah. You have to be watching strategy battles throughout the field. Yeah, you couldn't have said it more right. If you just look at like first place and like that's what you're looking for, we're just not there right now with competition level. But it's not like there's nothing else going on in the race. And
I don't know.
what you said about breaking points records, we're already breaking records because we keep adding more
Yeah, of
races.
course.
So
Yeah,
and I don't think what you're saying is too gimmicky. All honesty that you're doing is you're just gonna make those cars in the back race harder for more excitement, um, to give them a little bit of points. Yeah, I don't hate that.
exactly. You'll get like Williams wouldn't finish in last place every year because they might get some cars into P15 every now and then. Like Albon has been out driving that car. He can get into P12, P11. Like those are points. And then you like Yuki towards the end of the race with that whole drama, which I think
Yep.
was a BS call. But Yuki deserved points, man. Yuki's been driving phenomenally all season, and for the race season, for the race pace, anyways. And I don't think he pulled a stupid, dirty move, and he left a lot of room, in my opinion, for Guan Yu Zhou to stay on track. And
Yeah.
I get Guan Yu Zhou running off track there; it makes sense. I get it. Like you don't want to take a chance to put damage in the car and anything like that. But I don't think you deserve that 5-second penalty. And now he's out of the points, and
Yeah.
he had a really good race, and it sucked.
Yeah, and he could have gotten some cheaper points in like 12th or 13th place if they
Yeah,
extend that point system. Yeah, I like it. Um, so okay, so my idea for the year is that everyone has to run all three sets of tires and or two pit stop mandatory. You're saying that we pay out
P15.
points to 15th. I like it.
Yeah,
We'll start petitions. That'll do nothing. We
because
can
then
do
like
that.
Latifi wouldn't have ever existed. Let's be real here. Latifi crashed out in P20 because he was bored.
Oh, that thing you sent me where they said he was a paid actor. Oh man,
Yeah,
it felt real. I mean,
it did. And like,
they
yeah,
were.
we need to do something.
Oh yeah, I forget the name of that podcast, but those guys were spitting some facts right there. But no, I think this two-stop race was exciting. Unfortunately, I think it would have been cooler at. I think it would have been real cool at Australia because everyone was so much closer. Those undercuts, overcuts, different strategies would have been cool. But I think you saw a two-stop race and it was more exciting. And I'm gonna keep beating the drum that these we either need to have softer tires so they don't last as long, but the medium to hards, the one stop is not the way to go. So let's get after it though. We're chatting about some things here. Lights out, away we go. Carlos gets a decent run on Max. They go toe to toe into one. Lewis gets alongside of Lando, passes him. Kind of Max in, Carlos check up. Lewis checks up, and I think he's trying to make like a cut move around Carlos. He takes off messes with Lando's front wing, doesn't get a puncture. Post race, they asked Lando, what's the situation? Lando just was like, everyone checked up, it's racing. Lando was very cool about the situation. Pierre Gasly going through one, coming into two. He gets onto like the rumble strips and the gravel kind of on the side. He loses a lot of places. So from starting P4 to P10 to I think he was down to like 15th, like literally
Yeah,
out of corner 5. George Russell, he stuck it in on the
dude, that
outside.
was
He sticks it
way
in on the outside,
outside.
takes the escape road. He gets right behind, like, so he was 3 wide. It was,
Mhm.
I want to say it was like Oscar, Nico, George on the outside. He takes the escape road. He kind of gets ahead of
Yeah, he
Oscar.
gets ahead.
He
I think he ends
tucks
up right
behind
behind.
Nico. They say it was good.
I,
But
I,
then
I didn't think it was. I'm not gonna lie to you, but yeah.
he goes into the next corner, overtakes someone else, and comes out like I don't know, in like 7th or 8th behind Alonso from 12th he had
Mhm.
a mega first lap from George Russell, and his launch off the line was real good. I don't know if you saw that
Yeah,
too.
he had a good launch, but I felt like it went way like him going off track as wide as he did was wild to me because and I felt like it got overlooked for a little bit just because of what happened between Lewis and
And Lando,
Lando.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, honestly, you're probably not wrong. Like if the FIA is looking at one thing and then they're already like 3 laps, they're like, well, we can't you know. I mean, FIA
Yeah.
will do some crazy stuff, but I don't think they're going to go back and look at that situation between
No,
George.
just let take away someone's eighth championship and break some historical records. They might do that, but no, not George.
I
Not
can't.
George
I
running
can't.
off track.
I can't wait till we have like maybe one day we'll have people that watch this show, and then so they can comment like these guys never stop talking about the FIA giving Lewis's championship. That's my goal. If I have one goal for the show, that's it right there. Um, but yeah, no, and let's not forget, like Russell starts 12th, Perez starts 11th, and George put himself in front of Sergio, like on track, no funny
Mm,
business. Um, and Red Bull started both Max and Sergio on the mediums. Um, George and Lewis both start on the softs, so that makes
Softs.
that race kind of interesting. Uh, Continue through the first lap. Lewis is in third. He actually gets passed by Lance Stroll. Few laps later, Lewis passes Stroll.
Mhm.
Later in the stint, he's running up on Carlos, about to pass him, and then Ferrari does their first pit stop. But I think within those first 20 laps, like you really got to see that Mercedes
has
Their
pace.
upgrades were doing something. I don't know what you
Yeah.
thought about them.
No, I agree with you. They definitely have some race pace to show. They just got to get the qualifying pace down, and I think they'll be in a decent spot. I don't think they're going to catch Red Bull. I heard Red Bull, or not Red Bull. I'm sorry. I know Aston Martin's coming with an upgrade package to Canada, so I'm interested to see where that battle lies out for second in constructors. Because right now, if it wasn't for Lance, they should be running away with it, but they got passed up this weekend.
Yeah, I, I have a lot of thoughts on exactly what you just said there. First being that someone commented on my video on Instagram when I said, "Will the upgrades that were supposed to come at Imola, were they make them competitive with Red Bull?" And my friend Max said, "Well, they have to get competitive with Aston first." I kind of just felt like we kind of knew if they were coming with an upgrade, they were going to get faster than Aston, and like maybe we didn't give them enough respect, but it looked like they took a
Yeah, okay, I'll
clear
give you
step
that.
ahead of those guys.
I think it's going to be interesting coming forward because I think Mercedes, Aston Martin definitely developed rapidly over the last year to this year, but again, it's just a copy and paste of last year's Red Bull. But I'm curious because I think Mercedes develops quicker than probably any other team on
Yeah,
when it comes to like putting new pieces and stuff together. And then on top of that, it seems like Mick is really, really committed to this simulator role guy and his
yeah,
reserve driver because he put it in. I heard they were out until like midnight going over like different balance ideas and stuff. So
yeah,
I'm interested to see where Mercedes is going to end up next year with their new car design and everything. Because obviously, if this was like 5 years ago, Mercedes and these regulations weren't in place with the budget cap and everything, they would have Red Bull. They would have a whole new chassis right now.
yep. What one thing though, I don't want to count out Mercedes catching Red Bull yet this year, uh, I would need to get fact checked on this, but I believe the year that Lewis and Max went down to the wire championship, I think there was a race in Austria where Max beat Lewis by like 30 seconds straight up. They kept developing. They got them really fast at the end of the year. Remember Brazil? That car was like in a rocket. They won like
Yeah,
the so and I don't know. I just don't want to rule them out yet.
I just I
I don't
do
think so,
only
but I
be
don't want to rule them
the
out.
only yeah I don't I'm gonna roll them out. I'm not gonna lie to you only because again cost cap Mercedes doesn't have that endless budget where they had before, and on
Yep.
top of that too, Red Bull is gonna come with upgrades. They're not gonna stay quiet, and
But
I think
Mercedes has
unless
more
they
wind
could go
tunnel time.
backwards. That
Mercedes
is
has more wind
true,
tunnel
but
time.
which is wild because this Red Bull right now, I think Red Bull has pulled every single pole barring one this year, which is Charles,
Yep.
and they've led like over 90% of the laps. It's either Checo or Max, and Red Bull has won every single race this year.
Yeah. Uh,
So like they've won every single race this year. It's either Checo or Max,
yeah, I guess. Yeah.
and so like and they have less wind tunnel time, so they didn't have theoretically shouldn't have had like developed this car. This car's so much faster than everybody else's. It's insane. Like it's absurd what they're pulling for gaps, and or at least Max is. And I know Checo's like struggling, but Checo has proved himself that he can at least finish in P2 every race. But um, this Red Bull, it's just untouchable. And then on top, so next year, if they didn't cheat this year, they should have even more upgrades coming. It's which is like it sucks to look at it like that, but that's the cost cap error. That's
Yeah.
what we're stuck
I,
with.
yeah. Well, the good thing is that we're only in round 8, I believe, or 9.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we have a lot of racing left. But as we're discussing today, like I was saying, at the start of this race, Lewis catches Carlos on the after the first round of pit stops and passes him um, on track, just showing his speed. George runs through the field, passing cars. Sergio shortly behind him, passing cars. Lance Stroll had a decent day. I think this was the type of day that he's been needing to have when Fernando was finishing like second and third. He needed these like sixth and seventh place finishes. He decides to finish sixth on the day, you know, where Fernando's in seventh. I think that's
So what was wild to me is I think Alonso comes on the radio and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna push Stroll or whatever. I'm not gonna try to overtake Zone." So I think it was like I don't know, I forget what the gap was or whatever.
yep,
But in the commentators, I'm pretty sure even brought it up. They're like, "Why not? You got like a 6, 7 second gap and the guy behind you.
yep,
You have nothing else to do. You might as well." So I think Alonso kind of gave this one to Stroll. I'm not gonna lie to you.
yeah,
But that being said, I think Stroll needed to be like this race. Yes, P6 is fine. The races before, he should have been doing a lot better. He should have been
yeah.
competing with the Mercs, competing with the Ferraris. He should have been like P5, P4s. There was no reason he should be as far back as he was in almost every race.
Yeah, and it's just now you want to show up and finish P6 when the Mercs have now taken this crazy step forward and are finishing P2 and P3. Like,
I mean, they both just lost. They just lost. They both finished under the Mercs because
yeah,
P2, P3 for the Mercs, and then P6, P7 or whatever it was for Ashton. And now they were only a point ahead. And now they're second place in the constructors. So
yeah,
they're really banking on these upgrades coming into Canada to like compete for second place right now.
yeah, absolutely. I think it's really solidified. Red Bull's the fastest car, Mercedes second, and then you have Ferrari, Aston Martin fighting for the third fastest car on the grid. Um, we talked about Max Verstappen just kind of dominating this whole entire race. I don't know about you, but we're Lewis fans here, so I think I can speak for you. And Lewis dominated for a long time, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna be that person that's like, oh, we got to change things. Max winning is boring. Like I think it's everyone else's responsibility to catch up to them.
Of course, I agree
Yeah.
with that.
So I just want to get that straightened out. If you watch this show, you're not going to hear us trying to figure out ways to slow Red Bull down. My corny pit stop idea, they did that yesterday, and it didn't change the race. Max still won by 20 seconds. It was to make some other battles more exciting. So like we're not coming up with any ideas to try to slow Max down or make things different. This is like
No,
Mercedes' job and everyone else's job to catch up to them. So I think we're going to see more Max Verstappen domination, but I'm okay with it. I guess is a weird thing to say.
um, I thought it was funny when Max at the end of the race because he gets the warning about going over the white lines or whatever because he's trying to
Yep.
push for the fastest lap, and then he finally gets the fastest lap. And then they're like, "All right, just bring it home now," and he's just like chuckling about it. Like the guy's just having a ball up there.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't. It was like one practice where they said something to him, and he's like, "Is that a phone going off?" And they were like, "Yes." And he's like, "Is that Helmet's phone?" Like he knows like Marco's ringtone. Like they're vibing
I
so
can't,
different, so good right
I
now.
can't stand Helmut Marko.
Yeah,
But anyways,
it's
dude, that Red Bull pit stops are insane though. I,
it's
it
crazy.
finished. I think Checo still has, which is wild to me, is like Checo has the faster pit stop team. I don't know if you ever noticed that.
They're all the same
I
pit
think
stop
Checo
team.
had like, is it?
Yeah,
I thought they had different like. Okay, but
they all like
they
if like if they double stack, they don't change guys.
okay,
They have different
but
guys that work on each car, but I am
okay,
99.9% positive
no, that
their
makes
pit
sense. Shoot,
guys
that makes sense.
are the same. Yeah,
No, that makes sense. But like Checo's car always gets out faster, by like
yeah.
1/10 of a second or something like that. Because I
So
think he had like a 2 second like pit stop time, which is absurd. Max was like 2.3.
and that brought Sergio. That last stint was kind of like let's see if you could go get George Russell stint. He got close.
Yeah,
Do you
he
think?
did.
Do you think with more laps he's passing George? Do you think George was saving? What's your opinion on that last little stint with Perez? Catching George Russell. If you thought that was
I
legit
mean,
or
theoretically, if it depends how many laps you would really go. I think George definitely was saving, and had he been closer, he would like had he been within like a second and a half, 2 seconds or whatever, he definitely would have pushed a little bit harder. Um, I don't know. I obviously the Red Bull is going to catch a Mercedes eventually. If you have like 100 laps, they're going to get caught. But if it's like 5 more laps, I still think Mercedes hangs on to that P2, P3 finish.
yeah, I think it's I don't think you know the true data like in that situation because I think they tell George all right you gotta do your thing Sergio's coming but it's not like balls to the wall same thing with Lewis came out a couple seconds ahead of George and I bet you he settled in so I bet you we don't know like the full picture there. But it wasn't like weeks before that Red Bull was just running down the Mercedes. Like,
No.
um,
Well, I
you
mean,
know,
to be fair, it is a hard track to overtake and stuff, and it was in a DRS range. But that straight line speed is still absurd, and I know it was a pretty long straight at the end.
yeah, yeah. If he would have gotten into DRS, I think it would have been trouble.
It's over, 100%.
Um, so I mean, we've talked a lot about that. You know, Sergio finishes fourth, George finishes third. Carlos kind of just settled in, I believe, an accurate statement where he basically had his own race. I think they were trying to keep him in a certain spot, but I think early on they knew they were kind of settling for a fifth place finish. Like we talked about, Lance Stroll finished sixth. Fernando finishes seventh, waving to the crowd as he goes into the last turn before the race is over. That man was, as Alex said, he was on something this weekend, just chilling. Ocon eighth. And then let's talk about it. We had a good battle from ninth to, I'll say, 12th. Joe Guan Yu finishes ninth after the Yuki Tsunoda penalty. Pierre Gasly 10th. Charles Leclerc 11th, doesn't even get into the points, which you would expect that Ferrari to at least gotten into the top 10. Yuki Tsunoda 12th. But there are some good battles going on between in those positions.
I'm before we get into the whole battle thing, I'm so happy for Guo Yu. Like he came in, he got a lot of flack for coming in as a paid driver and stuff, and he definitely showed that he can compete. Like I think he's having a better year overall than Bottas. I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't know who's winning in that point total entirely, but he's having a good year, and I'm happy for the guy.
Yeah. And I think he showed strong pace early on. Him and Yuki were making passes, making the beginning of that race exciting, for sure. And Leclerc took his whole race to kind of get up near those guys. He was coming towards the end. I don't know if he didn't really have enough time, but man, there were some good battles too. The way their pit exit is set up, like you talked about, like double overtakes or people trying to overtake into turn one and having I think someone got held up and then someone put it on the outside and passed two cars. The boring comments were amazing to me because I think, like you said, overlooked the first place incident. There was good battles out there.
Yeah, I think there was plenty of good battles. Like I think maybe it's not even so much even first place. You could argue the podium. Everyone from the podium pretty much settled in pretty early on, or after, pretty much after Lewis overtaking George Russell got to P3. Like that was going to be a 1, 2, 3, barring a puncture or a mistake by one of the drivers. But like I said, like you were saying, to me there was battles all over the place. Other than like the top 3, top 4.
Yeah, no, I thought it was good. Even guys like you have Oscar Piastri in 13th, not a bad run for him. Nick De Vries in 14th. Again, he's been stepping up a little bit since that threatened to lose his seat. 14th is not in the points, but he had some good passes, some good battles. Nico Hulkenberg did his thing. Albon was quiet all day. Lando Norris, first lap incident with Lewis Hamilton where his wing got messed up. He had to pit lap 1. His day was over there. K-Mag 18th, Bottas 19th, and then Sargent 20th. No retirements from this race. I don't. Did Bottas though trying for teammate of the day as well? I don't if you remember the radio call where he said he was going to back up. Like Joe Guan Yu got past him, and then he was going to back up the other guys. So, I don't think that really mattered, but for that particular battle, but I don't want to say some of these guys are settling into a number 2 driver position, but certain race scenarios, these guys are like, okay, my car don't have it today or whatever it may be. Let me help my teammate. It's interesting. I mean, that's why you have teammates.
Yeah, especially when you're in that like the lower tier cars, like the Williams, the Alphas, the AlphaTauris, and the Romeros. But at that point you kind of have to do whatever you can to try to get somebody in the points. As you're looking for that extra money in the constructors championship, you don't want to be in last place.
Yeah.
So you kind of need a teammate who's willing to do all that dirty work stuff. I think the only teammates neither of them will ever do it is in that lower tier is going to be the Haas teammates. Because I don't think I think K-Mag is the number 2 driver in this scenario right now, and K-Mag's too aggressive of a driver to ever become a person who's going to back the grid up.
Yeah, he'd back the grid up like naturally by racing them hard.
Yeah, of course.
Not strategically. I think that's actually very well said. So the last comment I think I have about the race, um, I sometimes I like to do more prep work. Like I said, we're studio move this weekend, so I don't have the best notes in front of me. I'll pull some up in a second, but uh, a little what if scenario to play with you here. Um, you obviously don't like that time penalty with Yuki Tsunoda and Joe Guan Yu pass, but they at that point were very close to Esteban Ocon. Do you think there's? I think that chance took all, or the failed pass attempt took all the wind out of Joe Guan Yu's sails. He didn't pass Yuki on track, right? The rest of it, he just settled in behind him.
No, he didn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
he settled
Let's say Joe Guan Yu gets that pass. Maybe he doesn't burn up his tires or whatever it may be. I bet you he has a shot of passing Ocon for eighth. And then
in.
Fernando
Maybe.
with a not hot car was 5 seconds up the road. I would have liked to seen that pass get completed and him put his head down and maybe go get some more positions. Do you think he would have grabbed a few more, or do you think he was settled in behind Ocon?
Because how many laps? I think he would have settled in behind. I don't think there was that many laps left when that incident happened. I think it was like less than 10.
There was a few laps, yeah, but like I said, they were within a second of Ocon, so they were in DRS.
Okay. Oh, so yeah, maybe Ocon he could have caught, but I don't know. That Alpine could have also been milking it a little.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I don't think he's catching Alonso, but maybe Ocon. I would have liked to see it. I'm happy for the guy that he's competing out there and showing his stuff. So I would have loved to see him get any sort of more points.
Yep. Well, that was my what if scenario. As I go over my notes here, we'll just probably Russell. We'll probably I'll probably just say things we've already said. McLaren with the double Q3, Alpine with the double Q3 was big, and yeah, so that's that. We've talked about Joe Guan Yu and Yuki Tsunoda looking real racy. I guess what I have here, you already. Oh, I have Aston Martin upgrades coming in Canada, which you already said. You're on top of that. That's why Alex is on the show, because he brings it every week. We'll never know what McLaren's finish could have been yesterday with Lando starting fourth. I don't think it would have been,
I think he would have finished barely inside the points. Yeah, I still think he would have finished like barely inside the points. But yeah,
I could not agree with you more. But it would have been interesting to see him battle for that 8th, 9th, 10th, whatever it may be.
Yeah, that would have been. Yeah, that would have thrown him in the mix.
Yeah, Hassan Williams just did not look good nowhere yesterday. I don't even know if there's a bright spot that we could.
Hulkenberg looked good in qualifying. He looked really good in qualifying. That's about it.
You need to be there on. You got to be there on Sundays, though.
On Sunday, yeah.
So then that's most of the racing stuff I have. I guess a couple other notes I have and something that we got to talk about is George Russell not the most extra guy on the radio? Bro, what are we doing?
He really is.
What are we doing with the rain comment? Dude, did you see though? Did you see Christian Horner with his hand out of the pit box trying to feel rain?
Yeah, I did see that.
Then he goes, "I think I'm just sweating, bro. What is going on?"
5 laps later or whatever. I thought it was funny that when he first said it, when he makes a comment or whatever, and then when he responds like 4 or 5 laps later or whatever, he's like, "Oh, I think it just sweated my thing. Is anybody else reporting rain?" I thought his race engineer was like, I thought he said "sir," and I'm like, "There's no fucking way he just called him sir." And then I saw on the video he says "so." And I couldn't hear it, but I thought he said "sir." I'm like, "There's no fucking way he just called George sir."
No.
Sounds like sounds like Alfred the Butler from Batman.
There's only one sir on that Mercedes team, and it's Sir Lewis Hamilton.
There's only one sir on the entire in the entire F1.
And he has a straightaway named after him. But like, oh my God, with his, we talked about George's comments last week in Monaco, trying to play manager and dictate the race, and then we got the sweat with the rain. Or what are we doing, George? You are a goofball.
I think he's gonna be he really is. He's a strange personality overall. I think I'm not gonna lie to you. I think it's not even just strange to me. It's just cringy. Like his entire personality is just cringy to me.
Yeah,
but
people say that, and I never know if he's playing, like, if he's trying to like play his cards close and he's really worried about losing his ride. He wants to be the perfect guy for Mercedes, or if that's him like all the time. Like if you were to have a beer with him, that's how he would be. I don't know.
I think I don't think he's going to lose his seat at Mercedes. Well, didn't he just sign a contract? I think actually to like 2020. I
Yeah,
think he just
no,
signed a contract.
I don't mean like lose it by performance. I mean
Yeah.
like a video pops up of him doing something not he
Oh,
shouldn't
okay. Gotcha.
outside the
Gotcha. Gotcha.
track,
Gotcha.
and that's
Yeah.
why he always acts like cringy because he's like I need to be you know Mercedes PR good PR and like
Yeah.
stay on
Gotcha.
this.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah,
But
no, not performance. He's
I
not
think
doing it.
I think I think if when he does finally retire, I would not be surprised if he ends up being like a race engineer or something. Because this guy has data up all the time,
Yeah,
and he always has some sort of comment to say, something to say. I don't know if you could have him right away become a race engineer, uh,
I
but somewhere down
you
the line, I could definitely see him doing it.
and I don't think you see that often, but it's like in other sports, it's like a football player becoming a coach, and that happens
Yeah,
all the time. Alex, that's good. That's good stuff, but I like that
I
little
I think
little.
Alonso. I think there's certain drivers that could do it. I think Alonso could do it. I think I think Vettel will end up doing that eventually.
Yep.
And then I think George can do it too. I just think you can't do George right away because I think he's going to talk too much.
Yeah.
So can you imagine George trying to calm down like Yuki Tsunoda?
Oh my gosh, no one can come down Yuki Tsunoda. um, I also had someone sent me. Did they really do George Russell dirty and put the picture of him like with his arms out and do you know the viral meme of him? I
No,
think
I
they
don't.
put yeah. So one of his photos, like his intro videos, his arms are out, his legs are straight. They photoshopped him on like the front wing, like pushing things apart. I'll send you it, but it's a viral meme, and I think they put it behind him while he was up on the podium. Someone
That's
sent it to me.
hilarious.
Someone sent it to me. I said, "Are you sure it's not photoshopped?" And they were like, "I watched that live." And so
That's hilarious.
you know what? I'll keep this conversation rolling. So you've watched some old Formula One races. Me
Mm,
and you discussed this. So back they used to finish the race. They used to go cool down room, podium, and then interviews.
yeah.
Now they do the interviews right away, and I feel like I kind of lose the juice on watching like the cool down room and the podium. Agree? Disagree? What are your thoughts?
You're talking about the one-on-one interviews, right? Like when they
Yeah,
do them
where
like
yeah,
right after the race. Yeah.
yeah, where they
Yeah.
interview the top three. They used to do that on the podium after like the celebration. Now like you get it done right away, and like what else are we watching? You
Yeah.
know,
Um. Yeah. I can definitely because if they do all three of them, it's almost like a half-hour interview, isn't it? Something like that.
no. So right when they get out of the car, like Nico interviewed the
Oh,
three
they
of
literally
them.
talked to him. Okay. Yeah. I
Yeah.
got you. I
So
don't
they
hate it to be honest.
no.
To get the thoughts right then and there, because like if that race isn't if that race is kind of close, you're gonna get a little more heated. We could have for example when the sprint race where George crashed into Max and did floor damage to him. Had that
Yeah.
happen during the race and they both finished in the top three, you want to get in there and hear what they have to say right away. Like just for
I,
the drama appeal, you know what I'm saying?
yeah. I like that. That's a good point. You get their thoughts, get their emotions while they're hot. Instead of
Yeah.
giving them time to cool down in the cool down room, what is name for, and then a podium
Mm-hmm.
celebration. That's really good thoughts right there. Okay, two more notes that I have before we go over our picks, our fun game that we play. Did you see the clip of Max and Fernando getting impatient in the post race interview last week, wanting to watch the Indy 500?
No, I didn't.
So there's a clip
I
where
gotta
where
watch that.
where Max like touches his thing or says something and then says something to Alonso where he's like Indy, and then like Alonso answers him back, and then they're asking Esteban Ocon a question, and Max literally interrupts and is like, "Indy start time, Indy," and then like they talk about it, but dude, they just finished their race, and they're that's
He's
that's
all
some
about. I gotta give
diehard.
him credit. He loves racing. And so does
Yeah,
Fernando too, which is why
yeah.
they probably get along so well.
Max is on that sim all the time playing racing.
No, you don't.
Um,
So hold on before we get to that. I heard Max is like, I forgot what it was. Yeah. I heard he's like disgusting at FIFA. I heard at one point, and like a few years ago, he was like 21st in the world at FIFA.
that could be true, and I don't want to get canceled by other countries, but like FIFA's not popular here, bro. Like me and you were playing Madden
No.
growing up. Those dudes,
Oh
those
yeah,
dudes
of
were
course.
over there playing FIFA.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I know, but
so
like I
I
heard
can
he's like
see it.
nasty at video games in general. It's like I heard he was good at FIFA, and I know in the simulator one, the F1 one or whatever, he's like, he was like number 3 in the world or something like that, which is
Yeah.
weird because like they are two different. It's definitely different. He definitely can feel the differences and stuff, but like that's just Max is a talented guy, man. The guy's reaction times are just fucking nuts.
Yeah, well, I mean, you like you just said reaction time. You take those reactions, those hands-eye coordinations, and put them to video games, and he's still disgusting. But
I would
I just,
love to see him on Call of Duty. I'm not gonna lie to you.
oh man,
Like
I would,
especially
I would,
nowadays, where like it's like instant death.
I would eat him alive. Back in the day, my
Oh,
prime
back in the
versus
day, oh yeah,
my my prime,
I was filthy at COD back in the days.
my prime versus his prime Call of Duty. Like especially if you want to play 4 or Modern Warfare, I'll put my house on it. I got him.
I put my house on it.
Which I shouldn't because I don't have as much money as he does. But yeah,
I was gonna say you move into Monaco tomorrow.
yeah, the Max and the Fernando clip of trying to watch the Indy 500 is just,
Yeah.
you know, when you're a Mercedes fan, sometimes you just get caught in like, ugh, Max, but like you just respect
Yeah.
so much of that the racer that he is. And then also, my buddy texted me this. Shouts out Mac, good friend of the show here. That Alonso could have Alonso won or put some pressure on Max in Monaco if he didn't have the double pit stop, one for the slicks and then again for the intermediates. I said no, but they were talking in practice, and I guess some data came up where if he would have put on the intermediates because he pitted before Verstappen did when he put on the slicks,
Yeah.
that he might have had a chance to get out ahead of Verstappen and win that race.
I'm only gonna say no because Max was sitting there just. Max is really good in the rain himself, and he's sitting there toying around in Monaco at that point too. As soon as he got within like 5 seconds, Max would have turned on the afterburners.
But I think the thing that they're saying is whatever the net pit stop time was, right? Let's say it's like I think it was like 19 seconds. I think
Sounds about
Alonso
right.
was further back than 19, but because he pitted that lap earlier, if he would have gained 4 or 5 seconds, because you can gain multiple seconds when one person's on slicks and you're in intermediates, that he would have
Yeah.
gotten in Verstappen's pit stop window by pitting
Maybe.
earlier. If it was slicks to slicks, he was nowhere near Verstappen's pit stop window.
No, yeah.
But I guess he could have won
Because
that
the
race.
intermediates.
And one of the things they were saying was that like when you're not used to running up front like a Red Bull, Mercedes, I mean Ferrari's awful pit strategy, so I'm never gonna include them in this. But like they were probably so concerned on keeping second that they like weren't like thinking aggro. Let's try to get first place. Like
Yeah.
when you're not up there making those decisions. But I guess Alonso could have won Monaco. And my apologies to Mac, who I said I don't think that he had any shot, but apparently he could.
I'm gonna have to take a look at that. I'm gonna have to find that and see what it looks like. What?
I
Just
actually
to
was
get
reading.
an
I
idea.
just started reading an article before we got on, but I think there's some stuff to read online. Any comments before we go to our picks for? Any comments on the race? Anything?
Not really. Wish Norris didn't fucking get into that crash to lap 1, but
Yeah.
nothing too crazy.
It would have made that top 10 so different. It really would have.
Yeah.
And I feel bad. I feel like Lando needs that points good finish. Oh, you know what we should do? I always forget to do this. Do you mind if I go over this? We
Go ahead.
always
Do you think?
we always get going on something else. Let's go over to standings. We always forget that. So after this week, Max Verstappen in first with 170 points. Sergio Perez in second with 117. That gap is getting opened up wide.
That's what I want to say. Did you see Marco's comments about that?
No, what did he say?
He was something along the lines where like Max knew he had this in the bag, the championship in the bag a long time ago. He knew Checo was never going to be a threat to him, so on and so forth, something like
He
that.
said that?
I'm like, dude, this guy's something along those lines. I'm definitely paraphrasing a bit, but it was something along those lines. If I could find the exact words to it, I'll send it to you. But dude, this guy.
So mean to
I was like,
Checo.
this guy's a driver on your team. He is on your team, and you act like he's doing dog shit. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not wrecking the car, other than like the Monaco crash or whatever. But he sacrificed everything in Abu Dhabi in 21 to just give Max a fighting chance. But this guy has done so much for your team, and you don't give him any sort of respect.
Yeah, and he's such a nice guy. Like it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. Like the old
Michael's an
redheaded
asshole.
stepchild
It's like
saying.
he's just a fucking douchebag, bro. Margot makes it really easy to not root for Red Bull.
But they win, so what
Yeah,
are
I
you gonna
know.
do? Um, so Sergio Perez second, 117. That gap's opening up. Alonso third with 99. Lewis keeping them close with 87. George Russell fifth with 65. Carlos Sainz sixth with 58. Charles Leclerc seventh place with 42 points. Stroll eighth with 35. You got Alpine 9 and 10. Ocon, Gasly, Lando sitting in 11th. Nico's in 12th. Piastri's in 13th. Which is crazy with 5 points. That I would never expect Piastri to be over Sonoda, but he was. 13th, Bottas is in 14th with 4 points, tied with his teammate Joe Guan Yu with
Okay.
4 points. Yuki's in 16th with 2 points, K-Mag 2, Albon 1, and then 19th and 20th is De Vries and Sargent with
So come on,
0.
that ruined that 5 second penalty ruined Yuki's race season already. Yeah, like he
Yep.
should have been in ahead of Guo Jianyu right now and
Yeah,
Bottas.
those little points, they mean a lot to those guys that are running in the
Yeah.
midfield. So again, I think as a fan of Lewis here and watching him, you don't Hamilton's keeping Alonso close. I mean, we're 12 points behind Alonso, and
Mm-hmm.
I think Hamilton's a lot more consistent than Perez is. Like I think Verstappen's consistent. I think Hamilton's consistent. Perez starts having these bad Saturdays, and Hamilton keeps beating him like he was at the end of last year. I, Listen, I'm not putting it out there
You,
that
you
Lewis
think
can't
he's
finish
putting for
second.
P two?
Oh, I
Uh,
think, dude.
we'll see. I won't solidify anything until I see what Ashton brings for upgrades in Canada. Then I might agree with you.
I think Lewis has third in the championship. I really think he's pushing Perez for second. That's where I think.
I
That's just
again just waiting for the Ashton upgrade to see what they do because we all know they're copying and pasting Red Bull somehow.
oh yeah,
So
that's true.
um, let's just see what Ashton brings to Canada, and then after Canada, I'll give you a solidified answer whether Lewis can push for P two or not.
All right, I like it. Constructors, Red Bull first with 287, Mercedes second with 152. So they take over second place because of Lance Stroll's lack of contribution to Aston Martin in third place with 134 points. So they are now 18 behind Mercedes. Ferrari sitting there in fourth with 100 points. So you kind of got 152 Mercedes, 134 Aston, 100 Ferrari. That's kind of your battle for second, I guess, if you want to call it that. Alpine's in fifth with 40. McLaren is in sixth with 17. Haas is in seventh with 8th, tied with Alfa Romeo in 8th with 8 points. AlphaTauri with 2 points, and Williams with a solo dolo points. So that's standings, which I always have pulled up and then never go over. So I'm a little proud of myself that we went over that today.
I was hoping Williams wouldn't be the slowest car on the grid this year.
And also again another good dude, Alex Albon. Like he put in the work as Red Bull's reserve driver. You just wanted to see him do good, and here we are.
I mean, he is out driving the car. But he has talent. It's just that Williams just can't put it together.
And if it's a Williams like it was last year, very low downforce car. So this was not a good circuit for it. That car will shine at tracks like Monza and why is the other track? Spa. So maybe a good couple of points finishes there. That will be good for them. You ready to see our picks?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So if you were watching, we got our picks up on the screen here. Alex is going to give me the what's up when he sees it, so we can go over it. It was a very tight week. Points were close. Points were close,
Wow.
as Alex is seeing right now. I had a 2-point lead on the weekend, but Alex had that banger of a race last week in Monaco with the 7-point advantage. So my 2 points.
Wow, you called it, man. Max Lewis.
Thank you. All it did was bring me closer by 4 points. All right, this is a game we play. We picked our top 5. Point system down at the bottom. If you pick the winner right, you get 5 points. If you put a driver in the top 5 in the right spot, 3 points. If you pick a driver in the top 5 in the wrong spot, 1 point. So top 5 results are Max, Lewis, George, Sergio, and Carlos. Alex picked Max, Fernando, Lewis, Carlos, and Sergio. So he got Max Verstappen right in first place. Fernando did not finish in the top 5, so that doesn't count. He had Lewis, Carlos, and Sergio all in the top 5, none of them in the right order. So 5 points for Max, and then 3 points for those other 3 guys, giving him 8. I myself had Max first as well. We both copied that pick from each other. I put Lewis second. Thought those upgrades were going to be good, and they were.
They were.
5 points for getting Max right, 3 points for getting Lewis in the right spot, and then that's 8 points, and then 9 and 10, 1 point each for having Sergio and George in the top 5, but in the wrong spot. So I was a little nervous after last week. Round 5, as you guys can see, I had a big week, a 5-point advantage after us being, pretty tight the first couple weeks, and then he pulled a big 7-point advantage last week. Here we are again, only 2-point difference between us. Listen, I love this game. I really do. We could probably do fantasy and have some fun, but I think this is more fun, just us kind of picking the top 5 between the two of us. I love this. So
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was our picks. Guys, we usually do a preview show of the next race if it's a doubleheader or a tripleheader weekend. But we have a week off, so we're gonna leave it here with Formula One talk for today. We have next Monday we'll be back at 5:30. We will then be making our prediction picks. We'll be going over Canada. Canada has a lot of history. I can't pick the year off the top of my head, but a very crazy rain race. I believe Jenson Button being the winner. I'm gonna throw 2012 out there. I could be wrong. But it was a very exciting race. If you Google like Canada crazy rain race, it will come up. Very crazy race. The track has a lot of history, and me and Alex are going to be going over it next Monday. So we hope you guys check us out. We are on Spotify with a couple podcasts that have 0 views. So shouts out to us, Big Goose Eggs, on those videos. Or on those episodes, but that's all right. We're gonna keep grinding. Just want to let you guys know we're there. If you're listening on the YouTube, a like, a subscribe would mean so much. We're gonna continue to grow this channel. Me and Alex actually had a very quick discussion on Saturday night where I asked if he would come do the stream with me in person. He said maybe next year, which I thought was great. We'll continue to build. Maybe he'll come in. We get 1 camera, I'll get a couple mics. We'll get like a real studio set up. But for now, I think the content we're putting out is exciting. It's we try to give a little different perspective on some things, and we'll be back here to chat about it next Monday at 5:30. Alex, what do you think?
Sounds good, Johnson. Sounds good.
What's good? Me and Alex play dodgeball every Wednesday night in a league that one of our buddies started. We're playing each other this Wednesday night, right?
I have no idea. This season I've been all over the place. So I didn't even look at the schedule.
According to my captain, I'm pretty sure we're playing me second on the doubleheader, so that's always a good time.
Yeah.
So me and Alex get to be friends tonight, and then we get to be competitors on Wednesday night. And then usually we're competitors on Sunday playing our picks game. So we get to chill a little bit and just hang out. So, got anything else for him, Alex?
We got to solidify our bet, like, for what this end of season thing is. I know I threw an idea out there, but we don't know if we'll continue to be on the same team in the future. So I think I want to change it up, and I have a few ideas I'll spitball to you.
All right. I really need to take a second and think of that, because I still never have. You had some good stuff the first time we talked about this, so that's 100%.
Yeah, but I think I want to change it up, but we'll come up with some ideas.
Yeah, that's on me to come up with some stuff. All right, brother. Well, listen, thank you for another great night, and I will see you next Monday on stream. Take care, brother.
Yes, sir. Deuces.
All right. Thank you for watching our Formula One portion of the show. As you guys know, we do quick all things racing at the end, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. Like I talked about with Alex, wedding on Saturday, kind of moving into the stream room here. Stream room, air quotes, on Sunday. I didn't have a lot of time to watch a lot of things. So we'll pull up some results here. As I'm pulling up some results, a little shout out to the stream room from my dad. Obviously, gets talked about a lot on the show. Me and him are very close. He set up and cleaned out this room basically while I was gone for Memorial Day weekend, allowing me to kind of do this thing here. So we are not we. Well, I am very appreciative of his work here to get this going. So thank you, Dad. I appreciate it. While I was doing some work in the stream room, though, I did have IndyCar race on because NASCAR race started. There was a little conflict. NASCAR actually had weather delay, which was nice because it kind of allowed me to have the IndyCar race on in the background. They were through the streets of Detroit this week. Alex Palou first, Will Power second, Felix Rosenquist third, Scott Dixon fourth, Alexander Rossi fifth, Kyle Kirkwood sixth, Scott McLaughlin seventh, Marcus Armstrong eighth, Marcus Ericsson ninth, Joseph Newgarden 10th. So you had last week's Indy 500 last week's Indy 500 champion finished 10th with Newgarden. Kyle Kirkwood with the 6th place finish, almost 9,000% positive that he is the one that got clipped, spun out, flipped, and his tire went up over the wall out of Indy. I believe I know it hit a car. I'm almost positive that his team bought whoever's car they wrecked a new car, which is a cool move by them. Rossi 5th with Rosenquist 3rd. They are teammates. They had some very tight battles. Rosenquist almost basically gave Rossi the right rear with a couple laps to go. Very tight street course because that's usually what they are. The racing was kind of exciting. Those announcers to me are really top notch. They get you excited. I believe it's the same announcers for the whole season too. So they're in there. And like NASCAR has a deal with Fox, they get those guys, and then they switch up to NBC, I believe. And you get a whole different crew, and that's good and all. But I think you get the same guys basically in Indy, and they deliver a good show. Will Power second, Alex Palou starts pole and wins. So the Indy race wasn't bad. NASCAR, like I said, there was some weather stuff going on there. Whenever lightning comes, they got to shut that show down. Gateway, though, very interesting track with long straightaways, but corners that required a lot of braking. Usually when you get to these bigger tracks, like a mile and a half, these guys are on it down the straightaway, and when they kind of send it off into the corner, there's little braking, a lot more lifting. There's so much track that the car can lean into, so they're not on the brakes as much. This track with the long straightaways and then kind of hard braking, the brakes were cooling off in the straightaway, getting too hot in the corners, and the brakes actually don't like that. So they either like to be kind of cool, or at a small track like Bristol, Martinsville, where they're beating them up every corner and the straightaways aren't long enough for them to cool down. That's actually like an optimal temperature for them. Guys were blowing out brake rotors left and right here. Ended a few guys' races. So it's interesting to see if they stick with these steel rotors and maybe change it up to some different material in the future. Kyle Busch was strong all day, comes out with the win. There was a ton of cautions at the end. 4th place finisher Kyle Larson was second on a lot of those, did his best. The guys kept it super clean, super good racing. But Kyle Busch was your winner. Denny Hamlin second, Logano third, Larson fourth, Truex fifth. Last week's winner Ryan Blaney in sixth, Suarez seventh, William Byron eighth. Michael McDowell, who spun out early on in the race, recovers for ninth. The closer in 10th. And then our guy Ryan Preece, as he commented, kind of struggling all day, trying to make adjustments, but top 20 finish is good. We love seeing that from our guy Ryan. Motocross I did not even watch. I don't want to look up the results because I still want to have time to potentially watch that race over the next couple of days. We'll talk about our World of Outlaws here, as we had a good week for us. Number 2 David Gravel fans on Friday night. They were at River City Speedway, North Dakota. David started first. It was a crazy race. Track slicked out. He was down in second, down in third at one point. He finds grip in the later stages of the race and passes James McFadden to win the race, so that's awesome. Gravel first, McFadden second, Brad Sweet third, Carson Macedo fourth, Schuhart fifth, Giovinazzi hot sauce there in sixth, Jacob Allen seventh, Schatz eighth, Bass in ninth, and then Sheldon brings it home in 10th place. So those guys, there was some wheeling and dealing, and then it got slick. It kind of got to a one lane racetrack, but not a bad race overall. We always love it when our guy DG gets the win. And then on Saturday, Ogoville Raceway, it looks like Minnesota they were at. Carson Macedo's first, and I believe he takes the points lead. Very tight battle that we'll take a look at in a second in the top 3 in points. But Macedo starts second. I believe he quick timed that night too. And he wins the race. Schuhart second, Schatz third, Seltzy fourth, McFadden fifth, Sweet sixth. Sheldon comes from 19th, so plus 12 to finish 7th. Brock 8th, Spencer Basin 9th, Robbie Price 10th, and then our boy DG finishing in 11th place. So we're going to look at driver points here real quick. Excited. So basically a 3-horse race out front right now. Read an article today that they were trying to hype up Schuhart getting closer to David, but there's a pretty big points discrepancy there, as I'll go over. Macedo first, Brad Sweet's in second, 10 points behind. David Gravel's in third, 22 points behind Macedo, so only 12 back from Brad Sweet. And then Schuhart is 154 points off the lead, so he's 132 points away from David. So got a 3-horse race out in front, and then it kind of tightens up. So that was all things racing. As always, in the upcoming weeks, you guys got some comments or anything you want to, feel free to chip in on anything, any of your thoughts or comments when we're doing all things racing. I think that's all that I got. I wish I knew where NASCAR was going next week. I don't. I don't know where World of Outlaws are they going to Knoxville? I shouldn't be out here talking out of hand. Yeah, we're at Knoxville in the 9th and the 10th, which is great. It's a track that I'll be back at later on in the year to watch David for the Nationals. So Knoxville 9th and 10th this weekend. That'll be big. Formula One's off. I have Google right in front of me, so why not look to see where NASCAR is this weekend? These guys are at Sonoma, one of the OG road courses. If you've been a NASCAR fan or watch racing for a while, kind of back in the day, we were only going to road courses twice. It was Sonoma and it was the Glen. And now there's, we got Rollvols, and, we're inside Indianapolis Motor Speedway at their road course, and we're doing a street race. But back in the day, these two OGs, I feel like, were the street courses, or not street courses, were the road courses. So, Sonoma, that's usually always an exciting race. You could Google some good finishes. They got a crazy last turn, which can cause some controversy. I know. You got guys like Chase Elliott who are fast on the road course who he got suspended for wrecking Denny Hamlin. He missed yesterday's race, and he's needing a win to get in the playoffs, so this could be a good chance for him. And he missed those races with his injury, so he could be looking for a good finish there. Hocevar was running good, and Corey LaJoy 7 this weekend, back to NASCAR. Blew a brake rotor. LaJoy and Chase Elliott's car looked like he just couldn't, it's tough when you hop in a new car and in a new team. So, but it didn't look like it was all there for him. So, that is all things racing. As I said with Alex, subscribe. It means a lot. We're going to be taking this more seriously, like I say, most weeks too. So your comments, can help guide the show into a better place. So any thoughts or ideas, you guys just let me know. Besides that, it's time to go see my boy Carter before he goes to bed tonight. I appreciate you guys watching. A couple viewers up on the screen. A lot of love for y'all. Hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next Monday. Take care.